The first thing I did was I got some wild rice, and you can see that it's hand parched, hand roasted wild rice from northern Minnesota. We sell it in our bulk bins. There's commercial grade of wild rice called cultivated wild rice, and they'll usually be very dark and black. And this one, as you can see, isn't very dark and black. These cook up quicker when it's hand parched and hand roasted than the cultivated variety. So if you want something quick, go for the hand parched, hand roasted. This is particularly comes from Brainerd, Minnesota. Now, all you have to do with this to start with when you're making the chicken or turkey wild rice is put it in hot water. So it's going in this pot and it'll sit there. In about a half hour, it will be ready to add to the soup. So I'm going to move it to our other burner. Okay, so we're making a roux right now. This is the start of the turkey wild rice soup. It's a creamy soup, so you can use this for many different kinds of soups. You can use it for the potato leek soup. You can use it to thicken any kind of light soup that you want to make thick. So we have half a pound of butter, and here is a half a pound of flour. Once the butter melts, then I'll whisk it. This is my whisk, and it's always nice to have a good whisk. This isn't the best whisk, but I found it someplace at a antique store and it works okay. So we're waiting for the butter to melt. Now the other ingredients we're going to be using is a chicken broth, onions, parsley, carrots, garlic, salt, pepper, and milk. You can use half and half milk, cream milk. You can use just about anything you want. The difference being is that when you're tasting at the mouthfeel, as you use more of the cream-based products like whipping cream or half and half, you'll get a nice creamy feel. You can certainly achieve the same function with not a whole milk or a skim milk. I don't personally like skim milks in a cream-based soup. I like that nice mouthfeel of the cream. So we're getting down to the butter is melting. Okay, we got our butter melted. You can see it kind of bubbling a little bit. Pour your flour in and whisk it up. You want to get it all even. Don't add water in yet because that'll get lumps. This is also the way you start making gravy. Butter, flour, or any kind of fat and flour, and then what you want your gravy to taste like. Chicken broth or beef broth or turkey broth or just about anything. Now see how this is mixed together. Another thing you can do is you can put this in a container. We'll put it in this one right here. And you can put it in your refrigerator to use as you need it. It's a trick in the restaurant when you're making soups, is that they always have a little bit of roux in the refrigerator, and you can take some roux out whenever you need it to thicken your soup. So we've got the roux sitting in this container. Now we got our saucepan up there, and we're going to put in a couple tablespoons of olive oil. And I'm going to chop up these onions and carrots and parsley and throw those in. We cut onions once before. I'll assume that you remember how to do that. You remember the trick is to keep your knife sharp. We're going to cook these onions and garlic until they're translucent. Then we're going to add in the carrots, and we're going to add in the parsley. And by that time, the wild rice should be done. You can take a look at that. We'll chop up the smoked turkey and put that in there. We'll put the roux in. Now, one thing about using a thickener like roux is that if you keep on boiling the mixture, it'll burn. So you got to keep on stirring it. So I like putting in the roux at the last minute. And then watch it carefully until you serve it. Now we've got nice big garlic cloves at the co-op. I don't know if you've noticed them, but they're very, very flavorful. So I think I will put in 3 large cloves of garlic. 1, 2, and 3. Now we're going to do the carrots. So I've peeled these carrots. I'm going to cut them in half. And then dice them. With these kind of soups, you can put really whatever you want in. I do make a cream corn soup, so that I would put in corn kernels. But this wild rice soup is very, people like it. People like it because it's creamy and it's kind of satisfying on a cold day like today. Now you can kind of see the color of the carrots. When I put them in with the onions, in a little while they'll turn a little bright. You'll see the orange color coming out, and that means that they're pretty much on the right side to finish cooking. And you can add in the rest of your ingredients shortly after that, because they'll continue to cook. But you like them not to be really mushy. Well, I put 3 nice sized carrots in this soup, 3 onions, 3 cloves of garlic. Do things in threes and you'll be all right. Now another thing you can do at this point is salt, because salt brings out the flavors and things, so I'm going to add in a little bit of salt. Parsley will go in pretty much next. So I cut up a bunch of parsley for this. There we go. You can cut up the stems. Stems of the parsley are just fine. Most things that like celery and leeks, people they sometimes say don't use certain things. Well, I'll use those parts too because they're still food. Okay, we got our mixture sauteing. So this wild rice, I don't remember what time we put it on, but it hasn't been very long. It is basically ready for the soup. So now we're just waiting for the vegetables to take their color. Okay, so that's going there. Now this soup, I usually don't do anything but salt, pepper, and parsley. You can use other spices. You can put in thyme, oregano, other ones, but I like keeping things simple, so this is salt, parsley, and pepper. All right, so we're using a Ferndale turkey breast. I've been there, and they treat their birds really nice. They're out outside all the time. During the summer, you can go down and visit their farm store. Really nice. Learn some things about cooking. A lot of nice local products. So I'm cutting these up into about, I don't know, 1/2-inch slices. And then I'll cut them up into strips and then quarter that. Our vegetables are really close to being done. Now this was about a 3-pound turkey breast. If you're going to be doing it home, you'd probably use a smaller amount of it. Or if you're going to use chicken, you'd probably use about a pound of chicken. Or if you do rotisserie chicken, you could use that. The nice thing about this soup is that you can use up ingredients. You can have a roast turkey chicken or turkey one day, and then the next day turn it into a nice soup. There we go. Okay, so as you can see, these vegetables are nicely cooked up. Now I'm going to transfer the water and the wild rice into here. I'm going to put the turkey in. So you have the basic of a soup right now is a wild rice turkey soup. You can stay right there and eat it this way if you prefer that. We're going to make it creamy. So the liquid I put in there is boiling, and one trick about using a cream base, or I mean a roux, is that you have to bring it up to 165 degrees before it'll thicken. Now we have our soup base. You can see the liquid in there. I'm going to add some more chicken broth. This is the field day chicken broth that we have on our side cap. Now, in a short amount of time, this will get hot. And one thing you can do is, if you've gone to get yourself a thermometer, you can pull that out and check your temperature. And our temperature is 160, 170, which means the roux is going to thicken if I put it in. So I'm going to do it. We'll put in about half this roux to start with. You can always put in more later. Like I said, you can refrigerate that and use it as you need it. So the butter and flour is in this mixture, and I'm stirring it, working it into it, and you'll notice that the liquid is hot enough where it's making it thick. Now what you want to remember is you want to get your vegetables to be pretty cooked by this time, because you can't keep this on the flame. You can keep it on a low flame cooking, but you can't keep it on a high flame. So you want to make sure that you are you're not going to burn it. So now we're going to put in some milk. I've got a gallon of milk here. I'll probably put in half of it. The one issue with putting in cold milk is it cools down the mixture, and you have to bring it back up to temperature before it'll start to thicken. I may need to add in some more roux, but you can see that it's turned kind of creamy white. It's time when you could add some more salt in. Here's salt and pepper. I've been putting on the recipes that is about a teaspoon or 2 teaspoons of salt and pepper for a pretty good soup pot. I think that's correct, but you can always start out less and work your way up to it. I will check its temperature. It's 149, 152, so we're doing pretty good there. We just wanted to get a little bit warm, and then we'll give it a taste. We might add some more roux in. It looks like it's not thickening up quite as much as I want it to. So we'll get our little tasting bowl and a spoon, and what I'm going to look for is whether the salt has brightened all the flavors of the soup. So I take a little broth out and taste it. Oh, I dribbled. Yum. I think I've got enough salt in it. So now we'll just wait. Oops. We'll wait until it gets up to temperature and thickens. I think I need to add a little bit more roux. Well, might as well do it now. If you add too much roux in and it gets real thick, you can always add more liquid. I tend to make my soups pretty ingredient heavy, so I don't mind if I get it too thick at the beginning, and I just add more stuff, more liquid. Okay. Now, I don't remember when we started this. It was maybe a half hour ago, so now we've got a big pot of soup ready to eat. So this is, it's pretty quick food and not that expensive. Okay, we made our smoked turkey wild rice. It's ready to serve for dinner tonight. We used 3 onions, 3 or 4 carrots, a part of a bunch of parsley, a half a gallon of milk, half a pound of butter, half a pound of flour, and we enjoyed making this for you. Hope you watch the next one. Thank you.